And our evening begins now as Steve Annett reports in the Money Programme.
Tonight, the railways in the 90s. As British Rail adapts from public service to commercial business, can its tough financial targets still be met?
They could only be attained by making the service worse, very much worse, and very much more expensive.
Britain at the Rubicon. In Notebook, Peter J. on the choices facing the government over a single European currency. We start with the TV regulators, now in the spotlight. As ITV faces tougher competition from a single satellite, an amendment to the broadcasting bill could bring chaos to the TV franchise auction.
They come from all over the country, here to watch a recording of one of television's top-rated shows. London Weekend's Blind Date, with 12 million viewers across the ITV network, is a linchpin of the Saturday schedule. And it's a vital weapon in London Weekend's battle to keep its licence to broadcast.
The importance of programmes like Blind Date is that they are the audience winners. They actually win big audiences. Blind Date is an interesting show because it gets quite an upmarket audience, it gets a young audience, and it gets a big audience. It's everybody's dream. It's a programme scheduler's dream, and what it basically does is bring income into the system.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Blind Date, and here is your host, Priscilla Black.
She's everyone's favourite aunt, and with popular shows like this alongside more serious fare, London Weekend believes it has both the range and quality of programmes required of new licensees.
Thank you. Hello and welcome to a brand new series of Blind Date, the only show on television where words speak louder than actions, and the right words could end in romance. Now will it be love at first sight, or will they get a fright? And here they are.
Like Blind Date's contestants, London Weekend has its date with destiny, thanks to the government's broadcasting bill, which became an act at the end of October. Early next year, London Weekend must gamble its business worth more than £250 million a year in the hope of renewing its licence. But will the new licensing system work? For the first time, television licences will be awarded to the highest bidder. Not so much Blind Date as a blind auction. To play the game, you have to know how much you can afford to bid, which means knowing how much your programmes will cost you and who's going to make them. An in-house team like this, independent producers, or other companies in the network. And that in turn means the network companies have to agree, as they've always done, who's going to supply what programmes and at what price. Yet a last-minute government amendment to the bill has given the Office of Fair Trading the power to veto any network agreement, and that threatens to throw the whole system of awarding licences into chaos. Programme bosses from the 10 largest ITV companies arrive for a meeting in London. These are the men who decide whose programmes the network commissions and when they'll be shown. On the agenda today is a new network agreement, which successful licensees will be required to accept. The revised formula will be similar in many respects to the present one. Now, the 15 regional ITV companies get nearly half their programmes from the joint network at a total cost of £360 million. They trade them on the basis of a tariff. So much for documentaries, like Granada's World in Action, for soaps, like Yorkshire's Emmerdale, or for entertainment, like Blind Date. The largest companies dominate. Granada, Thames, Central, London Weekend, TVS and Yorkshire provide most of the budget and make the lion's share of the programmes. It's a system which some outside the network find unacceptable.
The present ITV network system is literally a cartel. Now, not using that word as a broad brush term of abuse, it is a network within which people apportion production to each other and set prices. Independent producers have no direct access to this system at all. We simply can't get in directly, so we have to ask an ITV company to submit projects on our behalf, and that's just unacceptable.
Good morning. There's been flooding in many parts of the region following torrential rain overnight. South Yorkshire has been hard.
Yorkshire Television reaches 6.5 million people with its local news bulletins. Regional programmes are a must for any licence applicant, but most production staff at Yorkshire work on programmes for the network.
We've built up, as have Granada, as have Central and all the others, centres of talent and excellence who have been producing programmes in the regions for the network schedule. And we think that's very important. Whether it's us or anybody else, it's very important that production centres in the regions are maintained.
You might have note about lighting some Jude.
Emmerdale, Yorkshire's twice-weekly soap opera, brings in approaching £10 million from network sales.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Action.
Emmerdale and other network shows account for a fifth of Yorkshire's turnover.
And cure.
You should eat, you know, Rachel.
In the past, the company had a secure income from its production facilities because it was guaranteed network slots. The new network agreement won't feature guarantees. Yet big companies like Yorkshire will still dominate the system, and they hope profits from programmes will boost the amount they can bid for their licences. But as both buyers and sellers, it's argued, they favour their own programmes, not those of outsiders.
Okay, on to the next scene, please.
Is there anybody there?
Hold your noise. Keep steady, young devil, or I'll cut your throat. What's your name?
Pip, sir.
For independent producer Richard Leworthy, there's no doubt the big companies work the system to their own benefit. His adaptation of Great Expectations was commissioned by a medium-sized ITV company, HTV, which hasn't had the muscle to get it onto the network.
Did your father belong to your mother?
I think we find it extraordinary that a programme that can get 4 Emmy nominations, that can be played in 45 other countries, is not played in the home of Dickens and the country where it was produced.
Was your problem that you picked the wrong ITV company?
We have to work through a company to get onto the network, and we chose HTV, and that company has no power whatsoever. We know that HTV have offered it to the network, but until their colleagues in ITV choose to buy the programme, it sits on a shelf.
Sir Gordon Borry, Director General of Fair Trading, now has new powers under the Broadcasting Act to look at how network programmes are bought and sold. As he told a recent advertising conference, ensuring competition is at the heart of his job.
One of the clear objectives of the Office of Fair Trading is the promotion of competition in the provision of goods and services of all kinds.
The Act gives Sir Gordon the right to scrutinise any proposed network formula to see if it restricts or distorts competition. His staff seem determined to use their new powers. One official told us privately the television companies don't know what's going to hit them.
Looks like Tomahawk Lake's gonna make you a lot of money. Hope so.
Morning, Don.
The Office of Fair Trading would be happier if just one person commissioned programmes, rather than a network committee. ITV's feature films and American programmes are already bought this way. Operating on behalf of the network, film purchaser Don Gale gets a budget of £50 million.
No problem with the first-run features for the network, for ITV. Right. They're very happy. 40 rows.
He deals direct with distributors who needn't go first to an ITV company, and he negotiates prices. There's no tariff system.
All in all, we're up with just over the 20 million.
Some ITV chiefs agree that one person should control the whole network schedule.
Thanks, Don.
Cheers.
Cheers.